The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, and welcome to the 2019-2020 On-Campus Housing Reapplication and Room Selection webinar. Today's webinar will provide an overview of the housing room selection process that students will go through to select their room for the next academic school year. I am Kyle Rice, the Assistant Director for Science, Marketing, and Communication for the Housing and Residence Life Department. Let's begin by discussing who is allowed to live on campus. First and second year undergraduate students are required to live on campus, unless they meet the criteria and apply for a residency exemption. Students that meet residency exemption requirements are those that will be 21 before the first day of classes, married students, and students living at home with their legal guardian at their primary residence within 50 miles of campus. On campus, we also have options for undergraduate juniors and senior students. Juniors and seniors are welcome to live with us as space permits. Students must be full-time, fully registered Tulane students to live on campus, and they must be undergraduate students. All students that go through the housing selection process must complete an application to be able to use our online housing portal to select their room. So one of the most important things for all of our students to know is that they must apply to live on campus to be able to go through this process. So why does Tulane require students to live on campus for the first 2 years? National research tells us that for the first 2 years, students that live on campus have higher GPAs. These students also are better connected to their peers and to campus services and support. Many of our juniors and seniors choose to live off campus, as by this time they're more prepared to take on the additional responsibilities of paying rent and utilities and are ready to learn the life skills of living more independently. There are 3 phases of the reapplication process. The first phase is for students to begin investigating their upper-cost living options. To assist students in this, Housing and Residence Life will host room tour nights. This is an opportunity for students to go to our upper-class communities and take a look at what rooms in those buildings look like. If a student might want to live in a building that they've never had the opportunity to visit before, this is a great time for them to see what a space in those communities looks like. Additionally, we will be hosting open informational forums. Attending a forum gives a student invaluable advice for this process. During those forums, we will talk with them on how to apply. We will talk with them about what their options are, how to create roommate groups, and we'll actually walk them through what it looks like to select their space on their room selection day. For students that may not know who they want to live with next year, Housing and Residence Life will host some roommate matching events. We encourage students that may be looking for a roommate or one more roommate to fill out their group to attend these events and find other students that are also looking for roommates. Students are also encouraged to talk with their roommates and friends that they may want to live with about what their plans are for the upcoming year and what they expect out of a roommate to make sure that they find a compatible roommate group. The next phase of this process is the application and signing the housing agreement. All students that want to live on campus are required to submit an application and sign an agreement. If a student wants to choose their room, they must apply on time. Students that apply late, that are second-year students required to live on campus, will be housed after all other students have selected their room. So it really is in their best interest to get their applications in on time so that they can choose their own spaces. Once students have applied, they will get a room selection time slot and information on how to create a roommate group. The roommate group is all of the people that they would like to live with in the same suite. They will sign up and they will select together. Once their room selection time slot comes around, they'll pick their spaces. So, how can you as a parent help your students? One of the most important times for you to help your students is with the investigation of their options. One of the reasons we host this webinar in December is so that you can have these conversations when your students come home over winter break. One important thing to know is that students will be getting information about the room selection process after break, so at this point you may know more about the process than they do. The reason we don't provide that information until after break is that right now we want them to focus on finishing the semester strong in the finals. But when you discuss this with your student, some of the things that you can do to help them be successful in this process are remind them to watch their emails from Housing Abundance Life. Now, we know they get a lot of emails, and they get a lot from us, and so some students tend to ignore their emails. But this time of year, student emails are incredibly important. They're getting all kinds of information about the housing forums, when to apply, whether their application is complete or not, when they select, and so on and so forth. So reading their emails and reading them thoroughly is crucial this time of year. You can also encourage your students to attend a housing forum. Students likely have lots of questions about how to select their rooms. The best way to learn about the process is to go to a forum. We will be there on hand to answer all of the questions that they have and to walk through the process. We also encourage you to have your students weigh and consider their options and their needs. A lot of our students get their hearts set on one specific community, and a lot of times they are able to select in the community that they want to live in, but sometimes those communities fill before they've had the opportunity to select. We want all of our students to have considered all of the options so that they have good backup plans when they go in to select their space in case there aren't remaining rooms for their entire group. It's also very important that they consider who they're going to live with. A lot of our students have wonderful friends that may not be the most compatible roommate. So what they're looking for and what they need in a roommate to create a living environment in which they can thrive as students is a really important thing for them to think about this time of year. Additionally, online, you can find our current room rates, and our 2019-2020 room rates will be posted soon. Cost of housing is an important factor when students are selecting rooms. So if a student is selecting a single private bath room that might be more expensive than a double room, that may be a conversation to have at home if one of those options becomes cost prohibitive. And lastly, we encourage our staff to reach out to housing if they have any questions. That's what we're here for. We love working with our students and answering their questions so that they feel competent and confident as they walk through the process. We know that as parents, you also have questions and you're advocates for your student, as you should be. But we do also really encourage our students to reach out so that they can ask their questions in person and directly, and we can create a good dialogue with them. Now we're going to look at what the options are for our returning students. For the 1920 school year, we will have one upper class residential learning community. That is our honors community. The honors community will be located in Weatherhead Hall. That building is all suite style housing, meaning that just a few students share a bathroom that is conjoined to their room. And that building has both doubles and singles. Students that are eligible to live in this community are current members of the honors program, and they should be aware that there is a separate application required to live in this community. So in addition to their regular housing application and contract, they will have to apply specifically for the residential learning community by submitting some essays. That application will open on January 23rd and will close on February 4th. Students will want to check their emails with more information about the residential learning community application and where to apply. We have a variety of communities that returning students can choose to select housing in. The majority of these housing options are suite style. Suites means that there are two rooms that adjoin for a bathroom that's shared amongst all the residents. The majority of suites are either 2 or 4-person suites, but there are some variations on it. The first of which are our larger suites, which are located in Phelps and Irby residences. Phelps and Irby have up to 8 students sharing a suite. These are 4 double rooms connected to a bathroom. There are no singles in Phelps and Irby. Students that are interested in living in Phelps and Irby should know that this is a very, very popular community. Every year we have more groups of 8 that would like to live in these communities than we have available seats. So all students looking to select in Phelps and Irby would be wise to have a backup plan for what they would choose should those rooms not be available at their time of selection. Our next 2 buildings are very similar, Greenbaum and Mayer. Both of these are suite-style buildings that have doubles and singles. The maximum amount of students that can be housed in a Greenbaum or Mayer suite is 4. Patterson is a unique building as well. Patterson suites for upper-class students are suite styles and consist solely of double rooms. There are also freshmen that live in Patterson, however, they live in the interior of the building, whereas the upper-class students that live in Patterson live in the suites that have external entrances. Warren Residence Hall has double and single rooms. The majority of rooms in Warren are communal bathroom-style rooms in which the entire floor shares a bathroom, but there are some suite-style double rooms. Warren is a mixed-year community, so there will be some freshmen living in this building, as well as sophomores and juniors and seniors should they choose to live there. Warren is typically the least expensive of the upper-class housing options. And the last traditional housing building that we have is Willow. Willow is also suite style. There are doubles and singles. Unlike most of the other suite style accommodations, Willow mixes single rooms and double rooms within the same suite, so they do have some 3-person suites available. The application for housing for all styles of housing will go live on January 23rd. Students applying to live on campus must complete their application by February 22nd. Our last housing option for students is apartment-style housing. Our area apartments are designed and primarily targeted for our juniors and senior students. However, there will be some space to permit sophomores to select an errand. This is another community in which students looking to select an errand, especially rising sophomore students, should have a backup plan in case there are not apartments available at their time of selection. Errand apartments have both double and single rooms, a living room, a bathroom, and a small kitchen. There are 3, 4, and 5-person apartments available in Errand. All utilities and amenities are included in Errand, so students do not have to worry about paying multiple different bills should they live in that apartment. Errand, as well as all of the other communities we have described, have more information available to you on our website, including 360-degree photos of what rooms in those communities look like. Please go to housing.tulane.edu and click on our communities to see more. We've already briefly touched on our housing tours and housing forums. Just to reiterate, our housing tours will be one evening in which students can go and visit their various housing options. All of our upper-class communities will be available for tour on that night. For students that may not be available on tour night, they are encouraged to go to our housing website and look at the 360-degree room photos that we have online. Students will be sent the link to those photos when we send out other information about the housing tours. Additionally, our housing forums will begin in January when students return from break and will continue throughout February to provide that valuable information about the process, the housing options, and answer all of your questions. This slide details the calendar for the reapplication and room selection process. The application for housing will open on January 23rd. This is the same application for all students that they all must submit if they want to live on campus. Additionally, students interested in living in the upper class honors community will have an essay application that opens on the 23rd as well. That application is due February 4th. The general housing application for all students closes on February 22nd. On February 26th, time slots will be issued to students that have applied on time. Time slots are required for students to begin creating roommate groups. Students will have from February 26th to the date of their assignment to create groups in our housing portal. And then, once students return from spring break in March, we will begin room selection. On March 12th, our upper class honors community will select within Weatherhead Hall. And on the 13th, we will begin with students selecting in traditional apartment style housing. Room selection is done in order of seniority, so seniors will select first, then juniors, then our rising sophomores. So once again, all students that plan on living on campus must submit an application and sign a housing agreement. The completion of that application is what tells housing residents like that those students want to live on campus. That is what is required to generate their housing time slot. One important note is that rising sophomore students are required to live on campus. So even if they choose not to apply or do not apply on time, they still will be assigned to a room after all students have had the opportunity to select their spaces. Students will receive more information about this process at the beginning of the spring semester. All of the information that students are emailed will also be made available at housing.tulane.edu. Housing is available to all full-time undergraduate students. Sophomore students are required to live on campus, and junior and senior students will be housed as space permits. Students that are currently on leave of absence are eligible to participate in the housing process. All pieces of our process are online, and so students will be able to participate from wherever they are while they are on leave, as well as if they are currently studying abroad. Students that are planning to study abroad for fall 2019 and will not be on campus do not need to go through the housing returning process this spring. They will have a separate housing application process to go through in November and December to prepare to return to campus for spring 2020. If a student is not yet sure if they will be studying abroad for fall 2019, they are highly encouraged to go through the room selection process and cancel their housing as soon as they know if they will be studying abroad. Once room selection begins, it will happen in order of seniority. Rising seniors, then rising juniors, then rising sophomores will select. After those selections, students that did not apply or did not apply on time will be housed in the remaining availability of housing. In the event that we maintain a wait list, students on the wait list will be housed as space becomes available throughout the course of the spring semester and into early summer. Determining whether a student is a senior or junior or rising sophomore is determined based on years on campus, not by credit hour. Each student that receives a time slot will be able to form a roommate group and then select their space. They will not be able to log into select rooms prior to their given time slot. One important question that we typically receive is how time slots are assigned. Time slots are assigned completely randomly by a computer system. They are not assigned by hand by members of our staff, and they cannot be changed once assigned. Students are able to create groups with their friends, and that is how they will move forward through the room selection process as a unit to select their room, suites, or apartments. Once a student's time slot has opened, the student will log into the housing system and select their room. Students selecting as a friend group will choose a suite that can accommodate all the members of their group, and they will assign each student to the bed in which they will reside. The student with the earliest time slot in the group should be their leader, and they are responsible for selecting housing. The reason for this is the earlier the selection, the more available options they will have to them. A couple reminders for our groups of 8 attempting to select an Irving and Phelps. They will have to fill their suite, so they will need a complete group of 8. They're not allowed to assign groups of 7 within those suites. Only groups of 8 are allowed to select those spaces. Another important reminder that we discussed previously is that students should always have a backup plan in case the specific area they're looking to live in is not available at the time of selection. Students that have medical needs for specific types of housing must apply with the Goldman Center for Student Accessibility and submit the request by January 30th. These requests have to be accompanied by medical documentation. So if students will require medical documentation, this is a great thing for them to be doing over winter break if they need to get in to see their doctors at home or specialists. If you or your student have any questions about the returning student room selection process, we encourage you to check out our website at housing.tulane.edu, for students to read their emails, or for you to contact Housing Residence Line. You can email us at housing@tulane.edu or give us a call at 504-865-5724. Thank you so much.